And Europe is not the only ally ditching the US. The Arabs are doing the same. We've been telling you about this. Their weapon is also energy. Not natural gas, but oil. America is desperate to stabilize oil prices. But for that, they need support from West Asia, the likes of Saudi Arabia and the UAE. They must pump more oil. Late on Wednesday, there was some hope. Oil plunged to around $106 per barrel. Remember, it had touched $139 this week. What explains this drop? Three things. Number one, America increased its domestic oil production. Number two, the talks between Ukraine and Russia. They gave some hope. And number three, a surprise concession from the UAE. Its ambassador to Washington, D.C. said the UAE would urge OPEC Plus to increase output. Soon the oil market calmed down. It was a record drop in prices. Cut to Thursday, oil is surging again. Last we checked, it was trading at $114 per barrel. What changed overnight? Well, turns out the Emirati ambassador spoke out of turn. The UAE's energy minister has tweeted this clarification. We are committed to the OPEC Plus agreement, he says, and its existing monthly production adjustment mechanism. In simple words, they're not pumping more oil. They're sticking to the OPEC Plus agreement. And what does that agreement say? It says oil output will only increase slowly and gradually, around 400,000 barrels per day, that's all. Soon after this clarification, oil prices rose again. The fact is, the market is confused. Will there be a truce? Will there be a commitment to increase output? Only one thing can end this confusion: a political resolution, not just an end to the war, but also to oil production. Joe Biden tried this once. He tried calling the leaders of Saudi Arabia and the UAE. Neither attended his call. So the West is trying a new strategy, a broker, someone who can put pressure on OPEC. And that someone happens to be British Prime Minister Boris Johnson. At first glance, it is a bad idea. Johnson may have multiple good qualities, but diplomacy is not one of them. Plus, what can he possibly offer? Saudi Arabia and the UAE want American weapons. They want Joe Biden to reset relations. Boris Johnson cannot offer that. So what is the idea behind this move? Well, here's what reports say. Boris Johnson has a good rapport with Mohammed bin Salman, the Crown Prince of Saudi Arabia. You could say he owes Johnson a favor. In October last year, Saudi Arabia bought an English football club, Newcastle United FC. MBS had asked Boris Johnson to help close that deal. So the two leaders do enjoy a camaraderie. Having said that, buying a football club is one thing, taking sides in a war is quite another. So Boris Johnson's intervention is still 50-50, which is why Biden is keeping his options open, particularly in Venezuela. This week, he sent US officials to hold talks with President Nicolas Maduro. On Wednesday, Venezuela released 2 jailed Americans. One of them is an oil executive. And this could be a confidence-building measure. Gradually, the sanctions on Venezuela may be lifted. In the long run, it will help. More oil means lower prices. But oil is a sensitive commodity. It rises and falls in real time. You cannot bank on uncertain events, like the Iran nuclear deal or the lifting of sanctions on Venezuela. These events fuel speculation and they add to confusion. Which brings us to the big question. Where does this rally end? How high will oil prices go? Experts say all bets are off.
In terms of prices, you'll see people throw around numbers like $200 per barrel, but we're in unknown territory here. We have not seen a disruption of this scale potentially since the oil shocks of the 1970s, and in some ways this is even bigger. So we're really in an unknown territory how high prices could go. It depends, of course, on the scenario for exactly what kind of disruption we get and what kind of emergency measures are brought in to counter it.
Well, that's not you want to hear. Oil affects all of us. Our fuel prices, our food prices, everything. And right now, it depends on a war in far-off Europe. WION is now available in your country. Download the app now and get all the news on the move.